My name is Kwabena Chenchehinibuati. Many thanks for joining us on News Today. Now, the Military High Command has given a committee investigating the brutality of a 16-year-old boy a one-week ultimatum to submit its report to the Chief of Defence Staff for action. In the last 1 hour, a military ambulance has arrived here at the premises of the multimedia group following a broadcast on the Super Morning Show of the plight of the boy brutalized by some military officers for allegedly stealing a phone. The young man, according to a narration by his brother on April 4, was tied to a mango tree from 9 a.m. till 2:30 p.m. and severely beaten for allegedly stealing the phone of an officer. MFA Ewona Matiamwa Eli has been speaking to the brother of this victim.
4th of April in the morning, he took motorbike to the old airport to fetch water. He fetched the water. When he was about to go, the soldier asked him, they kept his phone on a table and the phone was no more there. They asked him, he said he was not the one taking the phone. So they searched him, they didn't get the phone with him.
Did he tell you this, or another person saw all of this happening and told you about it?
It's the sister who told me.
Is the sister? Was the sister there?
Yes.
She saw everything happen?
She saw everything. On the process of beating, she ran to the place and asked by then, my brother can talk by then. He was being beaten from 9 to 2. That he was sent inside to the room, that they are going to kill him. Then my sister ran to the police station to give a report. After the report,
which was around 9 in the morning.
In the morning to 2:30.
At what point did they start beating him, and for what reason?
They called him, when he sent the water home, they called him back. And they asked him again, and he said he's not the one taken. So they seized the motor. When they seized the motor, he said the motor doesn't belong to him. They inflict the tires in the front and the back all. And they said the motor doesn't belong to him. He begged them, they should give the motor to him to go and give the owner. And they started beating him.
Okay, so the situation here is that Christopher is unable to talk coherently now, and he can't also really move about, he can't walk. That's how come his elder brother Richard is talking for him, explaining what actually happened on the 4th of April. This is actually Christopher's account to Richard on the day of the incident, and that's what he's narrating to us. So continue.
So he was admitted in the hospital for 5 days. And
which hospital?
God is on the paper.
It's on the paper. So the day the thing happened, was he able to move? Was he able to come home? Was he?
No, they didn't allow him to come. They handcuffed him against a mango tree. So from there, he was sent to the Kamina.
How long was he at the old airport when he was hanged around the mango tree?
From 9 to 2:30, I'm talking of.
In the afternoon?
Yes. That was the time the sister rushed to the police station to report, and the police came in.
So all this while your sister was with him?
With my mother there.
At the place?
At the place where the guy was beaten.
Okay. Trying to get him released or what?
Yes, my mother will get to the place and they'll use their leg to boot my mother and things all. Okay. So he was admitted in the Kamina military hospital.
At what point did they take him out of the airport or from the mango tree and took him to the hospital?
From the report, from that 2:30, they took him to the military police
station.
Okay. From the police station, they took him to hospital. The police people asked them to take him to hospital.
Were you given a police report to take him to, medical report?
Yes.
Okay, then you took him to which hospital?
The military hospital in Kamina there.
Well, that was the brother of a 16-year-old boy who was brutalized by the military for allegedly stealing a phone. Well, Director of Public Affairs at the Ghana Armed Forces, Colonel Eric Agriquashi, accompanied the Chief of Staff of the Ghana Armed Forces, Brigadier General Samson Kujo-Adeti, to the premises of Joy FM this morning over the issue. Speaking on News Desk a while ago, Director of Public Relations of the Ghana Armed Forces, Colonel Eric Agriquashi, said investigations into the issue has begun, with the military officers involved in the act currently in custody assisting with investigations.
What I can say is that this is more of a criminal act because the unit or the armed forces will not sanction such a treatment to anybody. And so anybody who gets himself involved in such a situation will have to be dealt with according to the laws of the state. You see, with excesses, they come. There's a lot of youthful exuberance everywhere, but gradually we know when some people are used as examples, the message that they are always being told, they will understand it better. they will understand the message better. So in this case, the police is handling it. We are also doing our investigations to see the culpability of the personnel involved. So once the criminal aspect is dealt with, then we also deal with them according to our...
So, no,
no, my last information indicated that they are with the police.
They are with the police,
yes.
Assisting with the investigation.
Yes.
When was that? When were they taken to the police?
Either this morning or yesterday, because yesterday they were in the guard room. Once this thing got to our attention, they were put in the guard room for us to start our own investigations. And it has a criminal component, and that is how we brought the police also in. Once it's a criminal issue, whatever response or report the police bring is what, if there's a need for them to be sent to court, they'll be sent to court. And what the court says, that is final. And then when they finish with the court case, then when they come back, then we will also deal with them according to our regulation. I can't sit here and say that for this situation, this is what we have.
What are the likely sanctions then?
No, I can't give likely sanctions, but depending on the outcome of whatever investigations that will be done, what recommendations the board will make, then we'll take an action. I don't want to mention any particular sanction, and I need to go into people's head. So if that particular thing is not done to them, then say, oh, but they said they were going to do this, why didn't they do it? There are a range of punishments that go for any misbehavior or misdemeanor that one does. Yes. Depending on what outcome we get at the end of the day from our Board of Inquiry. Okay.
Well, we are told the police is running a parallel investigation into this very incident. To bring you a lot more on this very story on our news analysis program, The Pulse, which airs at 3 p.m. on the same channel. In other news now, and one person has died and several others injured following an accident on the Techiman-Kintampo Road in the Bono-Ahafo region. The accident is said to have occurred at Kroteki in the Kintampo South District at 4 a.m. today. We'll be crossing over to the Bono-Ahafo region and speaking to our correspondent, Anas Sabit, who will be joining us via phone in a short while. But while we do wait to get in touch with him, we can now move on and do some other stories still relating to security. And the Accra Regional Police has moved in to curb the incessant robbery in Agbogba and neighboring communities. An entourage led by the Regional Commander, COP Dampare, met some victims of armed robbery and residents who shared their experiences and expressed hope in the new police continues as the police continues engaging with these people.
Since beginning of the year to today, we have had 7 robbery cases here that we are currently investigating. And beyond that, like I said to you, one of even the people we've interviewed immediately raised the issue and the feedback has not come. I'm visiting the house, having more engagement with the person and dealing with it. And also as you look at the contribution from the community, they said that the situation has improved markedly, and even they were congratulating the divisional commanders and the district commanders in terms of the work that has been done. With this initiative, it's not premised on the fact that things are getting out of hand. It's premised on the fact that we want to do things better. We want to get all the communities on board and achieve better results. And by so doing, the measures that we have in place, the day and night patrols are ongoing, the snatch checkpoints are going on. We are putting the CID people in place. We are doing resource alignment where we need to look at it from the information we pick from the community as we pick from other communities, and ensuring that we keep the people safer than before. So it's not because of 3 months or something issues that we are here. It's because the things that we want to do differently and ensure that we get a community on board that has prompted us to be here.
You're watching News Today here on your Joy News channel on Multi TV. We're taking a break. We'll return shortly with a lot more stories. Don't go away. Many thanks for staying on News Today with me, Kwabena Chenche Heneboati. To some more stories now. And the Executive Director of Governance Think Tank, the Center for Democratic Development, has blamed Ghana's hostile multi-party democratic dispensation on the current central governance system. Professor Emmanuel says the country has gone overboard in centralizing state administrative, political, economic and political power so much that it becomes difficult for other stakeholders in the country's democratic dispensation to make meaningful contribution to the state. The head of the governance think tank says a lack of consensus between political parties and citizens on key national issues is stifling the country's growth.
There is this much polarization because we have gone overboard in centralizing power, centralizing state control, centralizing administrative power, political power, cultural power, symbolic power, and everything at the center of the state. And so the party and the government the party that wins the election and the party whose president wins the election becomes the controller of all these resources that are concentrated at the center of the state. Because we don't have alternative avenues to wealth and influence, it makes capturing the state the end game of political competition. That is the source of the polarization. If we want to reduce the polarization, we have to decentralize power in a substantial manner. In those places where it is possible for hardworking and ambitious members of the society to earn a good living and maybe become very affluent and rich in the private sector, the best and the brightest go in the private sector. In other places where you do that by being a member of the elite part of the state bureaucracy, people gravitate there. Here, we have structured things in such a way that being in power in the political center stage is the best way and to have access, the closest access to all the resources we have concentrated at the center.
The opposition New Patriotic Party has flayed President Mahama for lying his way into government. Speaking on Joy News' election program Minority Caucus, National Youth Organizer of the party, Sami Eoku, says Ghanaians must reject the Mahama administration in the upcoming polls for peddling falsehood and destroying the country's economy.
It is clear that this government has not only lied to the people of Ghana, but has also decided to play mind games with us. It is instructive to note that when Professor Mills passed on at Ekonfi Otua, then President John Dramani Mahama stated that he was the luckiest vice president in history, that he was given access and he was running the country. He stated it. And that he said he was in charge of he used the word in charge of our country. So it presupposes that the 4 years he shared more of it with Mills. We all knew the condition of our late president. And so for Mahama to then say that he was in charge, it was clear that he was in charge. He was also in charge of our economic management team that was tasked to ensure that the bread and butter economy of our country was on a sound footing. Fast forward to 2016, he's now telling us that no, he needs a second term. But when the NDC, they were launching their campaign in 2012, he said Ghanaians should give NDC another term. Another term. But now, the odds are against him. He's now saying that, look, ladies and gentlemen, we have failed the 8 years that you gave us as a party. So Ghanaians should give you another 4 years for you to now sprinkle money in their pocket. He said that less than a month ago. Today he makes an about time, as Kabo was saying, that he cannot go around putting money in people's pocket. It is only those who lack the skill, this is the president speaking, those who lack the skill to benefit from our buoyant economy, they are complaining. It's sad. Nobody can tell me that multinationals like Coca-Cola, telecom giants, mining companies, they lack the skill, the human resource, the strategic planning to survive under these conditions. I am clear in my mind that this is a government, a social democratic government, that has failed to put the welfare of the people at the center.
Well, that was the National Youth Organizer of the opposition New Patriotic Party, Sami Ewuku, speaking on Minority Caucus. Do note that Joint Caucus airs this evening at 6 p.m. on the Joy News channel. Still on politics, though, and the 2012 Flagbearer of the Progressive People's Party, Dr. Papa Kwesi Ndum, has urged the youth to think carefully about their future when they head for the polls come November 7. Now, according to Dr. Ndum, whoever they vote for will either give them the jobs that they desire or bring unemployment to them. He was speaking at the 53rd Student Representative Council Seminar of the University of Cape Coast on the theme 2016 and Beyond, Educating and Ensuring a Peaceful Election in Ghana, the role of the youth.
To say to you straightforward that the election of members of parliament and a president is not a one-day process. It is a 4-year process with consequences for all of the people. It can bring positive or negative results. And indeed, the 2016 election, or any election, is not a match between Hearts and Kotoko, or Ash Gold and RTU, or Mysterious Dwarfs and the Almina Sharks. You cannot vote and then go home and try to forget it. When someone becomes your MP or president, they are there for 4 years. And unless something really, really bad and disastrous happens, those elected will be there for good times or bad times. So when you vote, you make a choice. You choose good times or bad times, depending on who you cast your vote for. And that is why I keep reminding young men and women like yourselves and Ghanaians always that you get what you vote for.
2012 Flagbearer of the Progressive People's Party, Dr. Papa Kwesi Ndum. Now, the Electricity Company of Ghana says it is fixing the billing errors a number of its customers have complained about in recent times. The Public Utilities Regulatory Commission has already indicated it intends to sanction the company for failing to address the challenge, largely blamed on faulty prepaid meters which overbills customers. Joy News' Francis Aban has been speaking to Head of Public Relations at the Electricity Company of Ghana, William Boateng, on the complaints, but first asked him why they did not inform customers when they identified the problem.
There are some issues with this prepaid, and I think we need to clarify some of them. Some of them is not about the meter, some of them is about the charges. You know, the tariff itself, the way it works, you know, it's progressive, and the more you consume, the more we pay. That's how it is. So when you move from one bracket to another bracket, it's like your meter speeds up because you are paying higher tariff at another bracket. This type of progressive tariff system, it's sometimes creates problems because the customer will look at it. For the past 1 week, I just spent about 20 Ghana. Why is that the following week I'm spending around 60 Ghana?
Okay.
And because you have moved to another tariff regime. So that is one aspect of the issue. One aspect.
I think the one that's causing a lot of problems today is with they buying the credits, 40 CDs, they go home. And even before they can start using what they've bought, they've realized that they've been deducted by 10, 15, 20 CDs. What is that problem? What's happening with our meters?
Well, we are talking about the new meters, where we made mention of the fact that instead of the system tripping after you've exhausted your credit or your money, your deposit, it does not. And so whilst you are off, it's like you are consuming and it's not tripping. And so when you can mean that you are owing the company having used some power instead of tripping that particular system, it's not working. And so when you come here as you are owing us, and that's where we have a challenge with our customers who think that, of course, it's a prepaid, and after using the money they've deposited, the system should trip. They don't want any explanation.
Okay, but how long have you known that this problem existed with your meters?
No, it was, the new meter is not across board. It's a session from Legon around Osu, you know, it is not widespread. But that is what has generated the heat now, and we are working on it as we speak. We've increased the technicians on the field to go and then try and work on these things to make sure that the breakers are working, so that after you've exhausted your deposit, the system don't start put you on the postpaid. You know, the meter has that dual function where after the prepaid, it can switch to the postpaid system where you consume and later you owe the company. And I think that is what the issue is all about.
Okay, but if you knew that this meter could trip and go to postpaid and that we'll be in a position to owe you, this is not our fault as customers. This is the fault of the ECG. How come we are supposed to pay for your faults?
Well, I don't think that there's any fault anywhere or there's any cheating anywhere. It is power that you consumed. Only that I admit that the contract is about prepaid, and so you have deposited money. If it's exhausted, the system should trip for you to come and vent. I agree with you on that score.
So
unfortunately, the meter has been designed such that after that, well, we spoke to the experts and they thought that if they add that additional facility, it's more of a customer care, and that you don't put the customer in a very bad state, especially when in the night the credit is exhausted. So the customer can at least use, and then in the morning they will come and vent. But having created that problem, now that we realize that it's an issue, a serious issue, we've spoke to our technicians and the expert, the metering session, and they are working on that. And we are going to make sure that those breakers are fixed.
And in other news, the final funeral rites of the late tourism minister and former chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Jake Otanka Obeche-Bilamte, has been held at the forecourt of the State House. The remains of Obeche-Bilamte were first laid in state this morning at the NPP headquarters at a salam down before being taken to the State House. Now here are excerpts of what has been happening so far at the forecourt of the State House.
What then shall we say in response to these things? If God is for us, who can be against us? He who did not spare his own son, but gave him up for us all, how will he not also, along with him, graciously give us all things? Who will bring any charge against those whom God has chosen? It is God who justifies. Who then is the one who condemns? No one. Christ Jesus, who died, more than that, who was raised to life, is at the right hand of God and is also interceding for us. Who shall separate us from the love of Christ? Shall trouble, or hardship, or persecution, or famine, or sickness, or danger, or sword? As it is written, for your sake we face death all day long. We are considered as sheep to be slaughtered. No, in all these things we are more than conquerors through him who loved us. For I am convinced that neither death nor life, neither angels nor demons, neither the present nor the future, nor any powers, neither height nor depth, nor anything else in all creation will be able to separate us from the love of God that is in Christ Jesus our Lord. This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God.
Can now listen to the tribute by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, President of the Republic of Ghana, to be read by the Minister of Tourism.
Well, those were excerpts of that very event that is currently ongoing at the forecourt of the State House. Hundreds of people bidding farewell to the former tourism minister, Jake Otanka Obeche-Bilamte. Well, we've been hitting the streets and asking people their fondest memories of the late statesman.
Man is very handsome man. He doesn't want fight. Doesn't want when something happen, Actually, he went out and then he picked a car and go home.
He's a hard-working man, and he have done well for being a minister in this country, some of the roles and other stuff. So that's all I can say about it. And I wish him a safe barrier and a good place.
I actually remember him for being an aide to rule of law, democracy, where he took the MPP to court, the NDC to court during the election. Yeah, that was the only thing I can remember him for. And I know him to be a very vibrant person.
He was the one who was the chairman when Kufuor won. So I just remember him for, being a chairman at the time of Kufuor, when he won.
He's such a nice gentleman. But as for what he has done for Ghana, I don't know much. I just know him as a nice gentleman. Aside of the politics of what they talk about him, he's a nice gentleman.
He was former chairman of MPP. So being a former of MPP, chairman of MPP, the hard work he did, I think I remember one or two things he was doing when he was chairman of MPP and helped the party a lot.
I remember him as a very cool gentleman. Every day he's always confident. And when he was chairman of the MPP, he was confident of everything. And his messages to his followers can be remembered because he was a man of gentility and valor.
Well, that was a cross-section of the public sharing their fondest memories of the late tourism minister, Jeko Tanka Obechebelamte. May he so rest in perfect peace there. We're taking a break here on News Today. When we come back, we'll bring you business. Stay with us.
And now time for some business, and we start with some alert. Be extra alert anytime you carry out financial transactions with your ATM card or mobile phone, for you may not know who could be hacking into your account or using your particulars to perpetrate fraud. That's the advice from the Financial Intelligence Center, FIC. The Deputy CEO of the center, Philip Danso, is blaming this on the spate of fraudulent activities associated with electronic transactions. He spoke to Joy Business at the Anti-Money Laundering and Compliance Workshop organized by the cybersecurity firm E-Crime Bureau.
Mobile money presents serious risks. It's very vulnerable to being used to facilitate fraud because it presents anonymity in some way, it presents speed. So what is required to mitigate this is that the mobile money issuers and the banks that they work with are supposed to put in place measures such as KYC, know your customer, and then continuous due diligence. In fact, the system should be such that the mobile money issuers should be able to query their system and know which particular, let's say, mobile number receives what. This mobile number, as it is signing on the mobile money, what did the person say, how much transaction has the person anticipated? All these are measures that, so that if the issuer is going or the agent is going beyond those transactions, the mobile money issuer has to invite that person to explain that this is how the information that through our KYC, the customer relationship establishment measures that we had, this is what you said you are going to do. This is the area that you are going to operate from. Have you changed location?
Well, the board member of E-Crime Bureau, Dr. Suzanne Inti, also highlighted the need for electronic crime awareness.
So this workshop is just to raise the awareness of the risks involved, the specific security risks involved with money laundering and terrorist financing that, has increased because of the development in technology. We need to build the capacity of the banks, not only the banks, but in terms of the institutions, the NGOs, the lawyers. We have to build the capacity to deal with the challenges and the risks that we get because of this development in technology. The measures that need to be taken to ensure that the security of our nation is at the forefront of legislators, banks, that there is best practice that is shared between banks in terms of e-banking, in terms of new payment systems, because these payment systems are channels that are being used to perpetrate fraud and criminal activities.
Now, there are calls for more private businesses to do more supporting state institutions. This, the advocate believe, would make public institutions more efficient to the benefit of economy at large. Unibank has in this regard done various repair works at the offices of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly and also donated items worth 100,000 cedis. The Assembly has, as part of its corporate social responsibility. Richard Osei Anane is the head of new business retail development at Unibank.
To us, it's a way to assist state institutions to re-energize themselves and perform their mandate. Unibank was approached by the Assembly to assist them in refurbishing their key facilities that they use in their day-to-day management of the city. I mean, this was a situation where even the Assembly Hall that they meet to deliberate on issues bordering the capital city was not in the best of state. Dilapidated chairs, the tables, the curtains. So when we were approached, we didn't hesitate because we feel that AMA itself is a very critical and strategic partner when it comes to management of Accra, the regional capital. It depends on what the state institution wants and how you can convince private sector to come and assist you. We were convinced that assisting the AMA will go a long way to let them work hard.
So that'll be it for business for this afternoon. But you can join me for more business on the marketplace. We'll be looking at basically how your investments are faring and other interesting stories for you. Join me at the marketplace. My name is John Kojo Amwako. Please stay for your sports.
And that way it for the news this afternoon on your Joy News channel on Multi TV. My name is Kwabena Chenche Heneboati. Remember to log on to myjoyonline.com for a lot more stories. Remember, join Kokos as this evening at 6 p.m. on the Joy News channel here on Multi TV. But coming up next is the marketplace with John Amwako. Many thanks for your company.